Welcome to our continued coverage of the AfriSAFE 2024 event that's taking place in Livingstone, Zambia. This is Mwelo Chivesakunda, and I have two special guests with me who are key delegates, high-profile delegates at this particular event. With me is the Honorable Minister of Tourism, Honorable Rodney Sikumba, who is the guest of honor at this particular event. Honorable Minister, how are you?
I'm well, thank you, Mwelo. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. And also we've got Mr. Oswald Magwenzi, who is Zambia Sugar's CEO, who are the headline sponsors. Oswald, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
Absolutely. So we'll get straight into it. Honorable Minister, you just gave a wonderful speech at the opening ceremony right here in Livingstone. First of all, just tell us how and why would the Ministry of Tourism be supportive of such an event?
Well, I think first of all, we're very delighted as Zambia to host the 6th edition of the AfriSAFE Congress. It just speaks to what we've been trying to achieve as a country, where we want to make Zambia as that nice destination, meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions. And we're very delighted to note that at the center of having this particular event here was one person who stood up in Lagos sometime last year when the AfriSAFE Congress was happening. And obviously they opted to have Zambia as the next host of this particular event. Now, to quickly answer your question, why Ministry of Tourism? I think we've got very risky activities that we do in our ministry, and especially here, my hometown, Livingstone. We're talking about adrenaline activities such as bungee jumping, goat swing, zip line, helicopter, swimming under the spray, an activity which I did not so long ago. I'm not sure what I was doing, but yeah, I did it and I survived. But then again, I think it's important to actually look at all these safety requirements that are required for us to actually sell the product and be for one of our tourists or visitors themselves to know that this activity is actually very, very safe. But more so to just thank my colleague Minister of Labour and Social Security, Honorable Brenda Tambatamba, for having championed this particular event to happen here. Within the framework of Labour, we're talking about social security. Social security speaks to issues to do with safety, and we're very delighted that our headline sponsor, Zambia Sugar, a company that has been in existence in our country for the last 60 years, has been very, very instrumental to supporting this particular Congress that we're holding here today in Livingstone. And obviously, as the area member of Parliament for Livingstone, I thought it was just duty-bound of me to be part of this particular celebration. And I do realize that with Zambia hosting this particular event and the number of international delegates who have come through, I can tell you now, Mwelo, that 60 to 70% of the delegates who are sitting in this room are actually first-timers in Zambia. The bulk of them actually coming from Nigeria and other countries. Again, an opportunity for us to sell the sights and scenes of what Zambia can offer and what Zambia is all about. So as Minister of Tourism, we're very delighted and we're looking forward to having successful events such as this one in the next coming years.
Absolutely. Now, Mr. Magwenzi, you know, your company is headline sponsor at this year's event. And as the minister has indicated that, you know, you obviously inspired, the coming of this conference to Zambia. From your position as Zambia Sugar, who is undoubtedly a leader in safety, why was it so important to actually have the minister, or rather the government, support this endeavor?
So we always see ourselves as Zambia Sugar as a partner to the government. We obviously start our work by looking at what the government is focusing on. And we do know that safety is a very important aspect that the Ministry of Labour and Social Security is driving, but also us as a company. The White Spoon brand is about safety. Every time you take your sugar, you need to know that it's safe, but we are extending that to saying you need to also know that it was made safely, which means that the people who actually make the food that you eat are safe themselves. So the reason why we need to partner with government is because these are national issues, because we're a company, we're a national brand. So we cover the whole country. And it's fitting that when we have events like this, we partner with the government. So that's the reason why we decided to partner with the Ministry of Labour and the Ministry of Tourism. Tourism, because a lot of the people, when we met them in Nigeria, were going to come to Zambia for the first time. So we saw that as an opportunity to promote the country and what Zambia offers, the peace and security, the safety. When you're here, you don't think about being unsafe. So we felt that it was important that we promote the country from that perspective.
Absolutely. And now finally, Honorable Minister, it is encouraging that private sector and government are working together. Did you ever imagine that safety would be one of those angles in which you could work together? But then also, we're also quite encouraged that you're encouraging the delegates to have a sample of, what Livingstone has to offer. What are your comments around private sector and government participation, especially through angles such as safety?
Well, I think it's very, very important, as MD here mentioned. What is very key for us is to work with private sector. And I think government's role today is to ensure that we put private sector in the forefront. They need to be in the driving seat to drive this economy. Government cannot do business. Government is not in the habit of doing business. Business, commerce can only be driven by the private sector. So if the private sector comes to us as government to say this is what we can offer in terms of having a discussion surrounding safety. And I just want to take this opportunity also to indicate to you that within the framework of what we do in government, most of the critical issues which drive our economy is obviously the likes of manufacturing, which Zambia Sugar is part of. You're talking about agriculture. Mining, I did hear the professor talking about mining. We don't want to abuse it, but the core business in mining is very risky. And because it's very risky, so safety needs to be at a priority to ensuring that we do not lose lives and any other things that we get to do. So I think deliberately so, government set up the public-private dialogue forum, the PPDF, which now puts together private sector and the public sector government around the table to discuss issues over and above commerce, but issues to do with safety. So I'm very delighted that one of the cohorts, which we'll be talking about, I think, in the next one, is where the Minister of Labour speaks to our colleagues within the manufacturing space to see how best we could now put safety as one of those key issues that needs to be dealt with. I did speak to issues of safety with regards to what just safety requirements in any workplace is very, very important. Public liability, we always call it. I mean, if I walk into this place, into this hotel, if I slipped on a wet floor, what does it mean? So there's all those small little nitty-gritties that need to be looked into. And as government, we're very delighted that we're continuously working with private sector. And we're hoping to see our economy grow due to the fact that we're now working very closely with our colleagues in the private sector.
Absolutely. No, Honorable Minister, thank you so much for sharing your views. CEO, thank you so much.